Do not procrastinate on taking your state board exams. These simple steps will help guide you in properly studying for your written exam. Hi, my name is Genevieve Santos-Bann. I'm the 360 Beauty Maven, and I'm committed to helping estheticians succeed out of school and doing a career that they love. A lot of my students are overwhelmed with how to study for their state board exams, particularly the written exam. I wanted to share my experience on how I prepared for the exam. It took me about 2 weeks of straight studying to prepare for my written exam. At the end of the day, there's no shortcut in studying for the exam. You need to do the work. There are shortcuts on how to memorize certain things, but you can't avoid the actual studying, which goes into my first tip. Schedule your exam right away. Don't procrastinate on scheduling it. It'll give you a deadline on how soon you need to start studying. To be safe, give yourself about 4 weeks lead time. Once you schedule your exam, you'll be able to work backwards and set a steady schedule. Set a steady study schedule. Wow, sorry saying that 3 times fast. Perhaps taking 2 hours per day for 2 weeks. That's at minimum. And that's with, if you have to balance a full-time job or other obligations. You can take 2 hours out of your day to do some studying, even if it's just 1 hour for 3 weeks. Which goes into my next tip: test yourself first. So you may have a packet of state board questions from your school or the Milady's exam review book. So take the practice exam so you could assess how much you know of each chapter. Based on how well you do on each chapter, it'll determine which chapters you need to focus on versus the ones that are still fresh in your mind. You may have, as a junior, you may have done subjects like chemistry, electricity, anatomy, but those are, because you did it so far, in the beginning of your aesthetics education, then, it may not be as fresh in your mind as, let's say, advanced topics, if that was the last chapter that you finished off before you took your final. Let's go into the third tip. Study the chapters that you need the help on the most. So based on the test that you took earlier from the exam review in Milady, that'll determine which chapters you need help on the most. The subjects that you'll need to brush up on the most are chemistry, electricity, infection control, and anatomy and physiology. This is the time that you need to study from your notes. Anytime that I see students preparing for an exam by reading the textbook, that's not going to help you retain the information. Unless you are highlighting your textbook, you're taking notes, you're writing in the margins of your textbook, then I know that you're able to retain the information, but just reading it alone is not enough. You need to have taken good notes during your lectures. So this is the time to whip out your lecture notes from, the time that you were learning theory. You can also take out any flashcards or worked on any study guides that you needed for this to study for. Because that is all going to come in handy. You should be studying from your notes rather than the textbook. Use technology to your advantage. If you need to brush up on anatomy or chemistry, Crash Course is a YouTube channel that has so many good videos on explaining anatomy, the skin histology. It's just so many great videos that explain it in layman's terms. And so that's a great resource to check out. Which now goes into my next tip. After studying the material, this is the time to test yourself. So go back to those packet of questions that you have for state board, your Milady exam review book, test yourself again. And then based on how well you do, then it'll help you determine whether you really retain the information or not. Take this time out to really understand the material. You don't want to just memorize things just to memorize it, because you're not going to retain it in long term. The whole point of understanding infection control and chemistry and electricity is so that you can be the most knowledgeable esthetician when you start to work in the field, because you will need some of that knowledge when you're working on actual clients, especially when you're operating a galvanic machine, or you're, or down to the basic sanitation practices that you have to put into place as an esthetician, especially in these COVID times. You know, there's no such thing as being way too clean or too sanitary nowadays. I hope these tips give you the inspiration to schedule your written exam. Like I said, you cannot avoid the actual studying. It's just a matter of scheduling that time and committing to it. Remember, keep that vision that you have in your mind that you want to be the best esthetician, and the only way that you can start is by getting your actual license. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and check out our videos. Thank you so much and take care. Have a great day.